Welcome to the Party Lines, where we look at the big issues, some political, some not so political, and address them from both sides of the aisle. Prime Minister Mark Carney is defending a $3.2 billion plan to buy thousands of unsold condos in British Columbia. But is this a housing solution or a government bailout for developers? Take a look.
I want to go back to your announcement last week on buying the vacant units in BC. It's taken a lot of people by surprise. Some developers have said they didn't ask for this. There were, though, a lot of developers at your fundraiser in BC in February. Did anybody ask you for this from the development community?
First off, thank you for asking me that question, because not the last bit, I'll answer that last bit, but first off, no developer asked for this for me directly. So that's a simple answer. But I want to go to the broader issue. And I want to say up front, I don't think we've done, self-included, a particularly good job of rolling this out and explaining exactly what it is. So with your indulgence, I'm going to say, I think it's important to say a few words of what this is and what this isn't. We start, as we always do, with Canadians. We don't start with developers. We don't start, what? Yes, it's great that there are developers and they build condos. What we care about is affordable housing, enough affordable housing, in this case, for the people of British Columbia. And the province of British Columbia, which initiated the idea, sees an opportunity, potentially given what's happening in that market, to convert some of these condos that are lying unsold to affordable housing, particularly rent-to-buy affordable housing for, and you can anticipate, so these are people, in many cases young families, but people who don't have money for a down payment. But can build in that equity over time, rent to buy.
The word bailout just keeps going through my mind. Bailout, bailout, bailout. And then the deals with Brookfield that closed a few weeks before do not look good for the Prime Minister right now.
I love this. This is exactly what I would be doing. Yeah, we have a housing problem in the country. People can't afford to buy housing. There's 20,000 plus units that are going to come online in the GTHA in the next 2 years. Grab them. Not all of them, but some, and not the ones that are distressed, but the ones that are unsold. So when you reach a certain threshold, everybody knows this, you have to build a condo, you have to hit a certain number, you put the shovel in the ground, there's always unsold inventory. That should be bought at cost, and that should be given back to people. It should be done on a threshold of a maximum income. You should have to qualify for rent-to-own, and it should be under three things, under the affordable housing part of it. Rent-to-own, geared to income, okay, and then the regional part of it, which is going to stop people from becoming homeless and get a generation that was priced out of the market into the housing market. You don't get to choose what you want to buy, but we will provide the programming for you, and this is exactly what I would be doing right now.
So I appreciate you saying it in those terms, because the Prime Minister didn't say any of that.
No.
Potentially,
I'm
he
the
said.
Prime Minister.
He said, potentially this could happen.
Okay.
A developer didn't ask for it, which, I mean, that his credibility on that just went out the window for sure. There's no way he didn't have a discussion with the development community, and the fact that the company that he was CEO of just spent a ton on BC condos 2 weeks before this absolutely stinks. I'm not opposed to affordable housing. Let's be clear with that. But the economics to this, once again, half-baked. I seem to be saying that. I said it on the last show. I'm going to say it again on this show. Carney's plans are half-baked. He said the province came and the development community had nothing to do with it. That's nonsense. And second of all, you're going to be able to, the development community, they need to be part of the conversation.
We are so obsessed with looking like we're doing something than actually doing something. So the affordable housing
the announcement government. I'm glad we agree on this.
Well, no, but I could say that about any government, by the way. I could say that about Ford. I could say that about everybody. What the core objective, and this is how I look at this, this is the biggest historical opportunity in this country to be able to announce a plan, get it rolling, and provide keys to Canadians within 3 months
not what this
to
is,
get
though.
affordable housing.
Potentially, this could be. He didn't even say it was the solution. He said potentially it could be used for that. He isn't even saying it's for affordable housing yet.
Yeah, so the word potentially shouldn't be used. By the way,
that's a terrible word.
I'll criticize the government saying, why are you rolling out something you don't know all the answers to?
Sure.
My affordable housing plan, I already believe, is better than theirs. Maybe I should run for Prime Minister.
But that's
your
point.
audience is salivating
my
already
point
for
is that you just gave a more baked conversation and answer that he mansplained in that. That's the way I viewed it. He was mansplaining.
So here's what
and if the clip, when the clip goes on, he does it even worse.
When I saw Gregor Robertson a year and a half ago, I pitched this exact idea to him. Why do we have towers, because we're so obsessed with towers, full of nonsense that's not being sold or lived in? Get that to the people. We expect people to make minimum wage and to live in urban centers, and they can't afford to live there, but we expect them to show up for work. This could be the biggest transaction ever to get Canadians affordable housing.
It's the way you do things.
I think
the process matters.
I think it's a good idea.
Canada's decision to build its next submarine fleet with Germany may have strengthened an alliance, but it also cost Northern Ontario a potential $345 million steel deal. We'll look at the trade-off after the break. A major investment in Canadian steel production is now off the table as Ottawa selected a German submarine builder over a South Korean competitor. What does that say about Canada's industrial strategy? Take a look.
Now the news of Canada choosing the German shipbuilder for the multi-million-dollar fleet of submarines is disappointing news for Sault Ste. Marie. Had the government chosen Hanwha Ocean for the contract, it would have meant millions for Algoma Steel and the Sault area. In January, the steelmaker signed a $345 million deal with the South Korean shipbuilder, dependent on Hanwha being chosen for the submarine contract. Part of that deal included Algoma Steel receiving $275 million to develop a structural beam mill in the Sault.
The investment into the beam mill seemed to be a big, advantage for Sault Ste. Marie in the process, and one that we were hoping we would see through. But without it, we are going to keep pushing for economic diversification locally with the port, and Algoma is, of course, with our support, going to be pushing for the beam mill to be developed with federal government help.
And both United Steelworkers Union presidents declined to comment.
So honestly, first of all, kudos to the mayor of the Sault Ste. Marie. He handled that very well. I wouldn't have had the same couth. The Sault has been kicked many times over. A lot of ties to the Sault in my background. Have a soft spot for the area. It's a tough thing. I understand that, the economics and the rest of it. Once again, I'm going to come back to you and say this is half-baked again. We don't know the details. The last segment you articulated better than the Prime Minister did, so let's try this one too.
I think I should run for Prime Minister.
I'll start the rumor.
There's 0 votes at the table. No, I'm just kidding. So how about this? So first of all, let's just acknowledge this. The Sault Ste. Marie has been kicked quite hard, especially with the tariffs. I'd like to see some diversification in terms of EI benefits for these people, because I don't think the tariffs are going anywhere anytime soon, and the federal government needs to step up for that. Part 2 of this is this. I am not upset that they selected ThyssenKrupp, which is the big builder in Germany. This is proven technology. It is superior technology from everything that I've read. It plays very well with what our Arctic and strategic defense is for our national security to protect us coast to coast to coast. And this is a capitalist country. We have to pick the best choice for our country, and we cannot mess around with promises and with "we'll build this if you select us." When I read that part of it, I already thought of 5 projects in Ontario, the Eglinton Crossline being one. Okay, well, we've done all these triple P project things, and we've been disappointed. There's been massive delays, and can we afford massive delays with our national security? I don't think so.
Well, especially in the north. I do agree with. I agree with you.
And I knew we would see eye to eye on this. I knew we would, because this is a technology thing for me. What is the superior technology and the choice? And it's merit.
So who's told you that? Because I don't know this, and I'm not a submarine expert by any means. I doubt
neither
you are.
am I.
I don't know it to be a better technology. I don't understand if, once again, the transparency for the reason of selection is not apparent to me. How the Sault's economic benefits were forming. The technology is part of it. I want to see the economic benefit as part of the situation or the criteria as well. That being said, what I don't want is a lesser product to save a steel mill in Canada. That is not what I'm looking for. So let's be clear, because our Arctic needs to be protected. So, but is it a 2% a better sub? Is it 1% a better sub? Is it going to handle something way different? I don't know. But nothing's been articulated once again. It's like the segment in the last, nothing's being explained. The economics are not there. How was the criteria? What was the decision making? Because if I was in the Sault, especially on a Friday night in the Sault, that's probably going to be a topic of discussion at the local pub.
100% it is. And here's the selection. Well, first of all, I read the article in the Globe and Mail on why they chose it. Then I went to a different source, which was what exactly are these submarines? Because you have to do some digging here. So proven technology. The submarines already exist. They traverse cold water. It's huge in the Norwegian defense strategy. So already that I'm in favor of it. Because, you know, Norway is not exactly South Beach, Miami. So if we're going to get technology, when I say technology, the submarine in itself, I'm not a sub expert. I watched Down Periscope with Kelsey Grammer. That's about as far as I go. There's a reference I knew you'd laugh at, okay? So as far as I'm concerned is this, if we are a merit-based capitalist society, this was a no-brainer.
Yeah, unless depending on the economics, baking the economics of what it would do for the Sioux as well. I agree. Now, as I said, I don't know the comparisons, and I think it surprises you a little that I'm not as hard on this. That technology means the world to me. Don't buy an inferior product, especially for the lifeline, for tons of reasons. No transparency. I don't know what the reasons were, and if I was in the Sioux, I'd be asking a lot of questions. That's all I'm saying.
That's why a lot of you things you think are half-baked is because I've had to do all of this myself, and you're right. The government should be explaining why we chose this, not to mention that Germany's a part of NATO and one of our closest allies. South Korea is not.
Yeah, that's true. I do appreciate that. Question the experts. Think for yourself. Judge leaders' performance. That's a message from tech executive Alex Karp as he weighed in on a high-profile political contest. You hear his comments after the break.
I say no on the party line, so let's go.
What makes someone qualified to lead? Palantir CEO Alex Karp argues that track records matter more than ideology, and he's used New York mayoral race to make this case. Take a look.
I do want to ask you about something that happened in New York this week with the mayoral election, because you're one of the few CEOs that's been very outspoken on politics and your values and sort of this idea.
Before I speak out, let me just say something that I think is very true that's changed in the last 5 years. In all these cases, every question you're asking, what I'm basically saying is you can trust the expert or you can trust yourself. And if you trust the expert, you're a fool and you're going to have a worse life. You're going to be poorer and less safe. Okay, so the message I have for people is if you're trusting the experts to protect you from having
Who are the experts?
Well, in this case, it's like there are a lot of people sitting at home, Democrats, like I've been most of my life saying, what is wrong with my party? How could it elect this person? Okay, but I'll tell you what, you're going to have to remember, your party's not going to defend you. Your expert's not going to defend you. Your doctor's not exactly the doctor you thought. You've got to actually go out on your own.
So what are you? I'm encouraging. Are you having a reckoning here?
No, I'm just telling people. You say I'm one of the few CEOs. Yeah. Well, okay. It's time for other people to speak up.
So for our viewers, if you don't know who this CEO is, look him up. He's fascinating. He'll talk on anything, which he thinks he's an expert. Which the irony is he's saying don't listen to the experts. I watched this clip a few times. It fascinated with me. He talks a lot. His company is a large AI company, large defense contractor in the U.S. as well. So he's got a lot of weight. But the fact that I laughed when we talked earlier, you would have never known he was a Democrat unless he actually said it.
I watched this clip 3 times, and I don't know what to do with this guy. Like, I don't know what he is, what he believes in, but I guess he said he doesn't lead with ideology. I think the premise of this came from the New York mayoral race, which he was criticizing the mayor there, who I don't actually think has done a bad job. I think he's kept his promises, and this is what I don't understand about going after Zoran Mamdani all the time is he put a policy on the table and people voted for it. That's the system.
Yeah, and then it was broken when they voted. Look what you got. Where's the free buses? Where's the
pilot project's on? I read about it.
No,
it's coming.
There's the budget had to be balanced by what? Pausing pension. Like there's a lot of things that were done to make things work. The utopia that Mamdani is creating, you and I that'll be probably our biggest argument, and I could go 10 rounds with you on this one. His point is Mamdani didn't have any outcomes. There was no jobs. There was no, what had he done before this? And he's saying we need to actually put people in power who've done things. Now, regardless of what, we talked about in the last clip with Carney on the economic, Carney's a smart businessman as far as, he was the CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. Like he's got a background and a track record in that. He was a banker. He was appointed by, funny enough, a conservative prime minister at the time. So no, he was a Bank of Canada, a governor of Bank of England. The track record is there on what he did. He's saying we need to have leaders who have track records. So he's saying we're still grabbing people with no experience.
Yeah, but what did the last 5 mayors of New York do?
I'm not saying it's. I'm not.
But that's what I mean. But that's why people took a chance. And you could make the same argument for Trump, because everyone said I want a businessman running the country. We've had politicians, boom, 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 and look at the destruction that he's done. So you can't. He's an anomaly. Well, I was going to say he's like an asteroid as opposed to a president. But my whole thing is this: First of all, the U.S. political system is terrible. The republic-style democracy is absolutely terrible. Their constitution needs to be rewritten. They got to get rid of that. They got to go to the parliamentary style.
What's the beauty of the Constitution is it can be rewritten.
Well,
That's
it can
what
be
I love
amended, and they need to get rid of that. They got to get rid of the House and all that crap. They got to go to a parliamentary-style democracy like Canada. It has been. I'm going to tell you why it works
Never
a
gonna
lot better.
happen.
Well, it should, because Democrats are traditionally liberal. They are.
Sure.
FDR, Lyndon Johnson, George McGovern, Walter Mondale. Okay, Bill Clinton was the one that took them closer to the right or the center right of the political spectrum. Why? Because he was a Southern Democrat, and that's how they evolved.
Right, but the Democrat then it looks like a Republican now. Like the change has shifted so far left right.
Zoran Mamdani in the 1940s or 50s would not be a non-Democrat. He would be a traditional
communist.
No, I think he'd be more of a traditional. I think he'd be a traditional Democrat. Universal child care, getting more social constructs done for people, increasing social safety net.
When does communism work?
I never said communism. You said communism.
I did, because that's what it is.
It's not communism. I don't think he's a communist, but I also think that they need to stop saying democratic socialist, because people don't know what these systems are.
Yeah, let's just say communist,
Democrat,
Democrat,
if you grew up in southern Louisiana your whole life, all you heard was the communists are coming, and you hear a guy say he's a democratic socialist, well, already your ears are going to explode. Yep. So they need to rephrase how they push things. But I don't think universal child care is a bad thing for New York.
Oh, I don't think it is either. It's how do you pay for things, once again. After the break, U.S. President Trump once again floated the idea of U.S. control over Greenland. Why does he see the Arctic island so important? We'll discuss after the break.
I say no, you say stop, but I say let's go. Shots are fired only with an Nerf gun, cause things go better when the wait is done. I love no hate, don't waste time, that's where we got the party lines, so let's go.
Greenland is part of a NATO ally, but U.S. President Donald Trump continues to argue that it's vital to the Americans' future. Why is the world's largest island once again the center of major geopolitical debate? Take a look.
On Greenland, do you have confidence that the negotiations will play out, or do you think the U.S. will have to annex Greenland ultimately?
With respect to what?
Greenland.
Well, that's what hurt my relationship with NATO, because Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland, but it's an important part for the United States. And it's surrounded by China ships and Russian ships. And that's not going to happen. The ships it's not going to happen. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be, that should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark. And when they wouldn't go along with it, and with all the money we spend to help them with Russia, and we don't have to spend any money, we could remove all of our soldiers out of Europe. Because as you probably noticed, Europe's a very different place than it was 20 years ago. A lot different, much different. So much different, and they're going to be careful with immigration and energy. If they're not careful with those two things, you're not going to have a Europe anymore. Okay, thank you very much.
We're not going to have a Europe anymore. That was fascinating. So back to Greenland. We're on Greenland again. I think we did this a while ago.
Can I quote the president?
You can do anything you want. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it in your?
No, I'm going to quote the president. Quiet, piggy. Enough's enough. Tell this guy to shut up.
He's never going to shut up.
He needs to shut up. Someone needs to tell this guy to shut up.
You said the same thing.
Okay? Someone needs to tell this guy to shut up. He doesn't know anything he's talking about. Okay? And I love how he has to run to fear-mongering, and they better be careful with immigration. We all know what that means, okay? So let's just remember, no, they can't pull all of their soldiers out of the Europe. He can try to. It's not going to happen. It would be impossible to do that.
Why would it be impossible? We didn't have Afghanistan. Biden did it overnight.
Look at that mess.
Right, so it's not impossible. You can do it. It's just what you leave behind.
I don't think it would happen. And the reason why he would never do that is because the U.S. is like my mother. It's empty threats. They could not handle.
Hope your mom's not watching. Right
she'll play the clip and she'll call me and say, "Did you have to say that?" Yes, I did. So it's empty threats. They could not handle not having their hands everywhere. The United States of America. Okay, so I don't believe in a word that he's saying.
So the importance, though, the importance of Greenland can't be downplayed.
No, it can't be.
So two things, and you could argue the same thing. The way I'm looking at it from a Canadian side is, what are we doing protecting the northern side of Canada right now? Because you can make the same argument. What are you saying? Yeah, that are going to be here when?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
15,
that's the one thing
20,
I couldn't find was the delivery time.
I don't think it's anything.
I couldn't find that.
And good, we're doing something, but it's a long process. my point is like we need to be paying attention to our north as well as what they're talking about, because there's a reason we're talking about Greenland again. I don't think Greenland's been in the press this much ever, if I can say, as a kid. Aside from playing the game Risk, it never really pops up here and there. But it's an important. He's not wrong about the boats being around and the rest of it now, to the extent he's kind of pushing things, which he does. I think we need to have a discussion about it, and maybe he's just shining the light out from a standpoint of NATO needs to do something about this. Like, we need to be stronger as in us. That's the way I see this.
Then he needs to say it that way, because the way he's saying it is, I'm going to take it over and take it from you and do whatever I want with it. This is not Fifth Avenue real estate.
No, but again, it's like
these are countries.
There's a reason Alberta wants to separate, because they're
Yeah.
not being paid attention to, and they're getting they're
Middle
getting
child syndrome. We know.
but they're getting call it what you want. They're getting attention.
Yeah.
He's putting attention on Greenland from the standpoint of maybe NATO will step in and do something that he doesn't have to. And all these call them whatever you want, the rambling, who knew if he even knew that question was coming? But the point is it might get what needs to be done, regardless of how you think he approached it.
Or he could be an ally and say, what if we go in on this together, because I'm concerned for my country's national security.
And maybe that's what will happen. It's just the path to get there is very different.
Then let's stop this year and a half of rambling, and let's take Dad's car keys away to, hi, Denmark, come over for lunch. I'll serve you Burger King or whatever he does, and we'll talk about getting missiles or whatever into Greenland.
Yeah.
This is why he's not qualified to be the president. Words matter. This is not high school.
I understand.
Jeff, we're not on the playground.
He's not going to change his approach,
Yeah.
but it could be a strategy to get it done. That's all I'm saying.
Poor strategy.
I'm not disputing it. Thanks again for joining us in the Party Lines this week, and special thanks again to Anthony Feor. We'll see you again next week.